So I'm going to marry you.
Okay. Hi, everyone. Welcome back to Laurel and Fig, episode 6.
What?
Today we are going to talk about preparing for postpartum, which is
super important and not talked enough
No one
about.
does it. Everyone just prepares for the birth of their child. They make
they prepare for the day of birth, right?
Yes.
Like, I got my birth bag and all that. And they prepare for the baby stuff afterwards, right? Like, your baby has everything they're ever going to need. Mm-hmm. But, girl, what do you have for yourself?
No one thinks about that because they're just so focused on baby that they forget, like, oh, I've got some shit going on with my body.
OBT dubs.
So that's what we're going to talk about today. Yes, throughout your entire pregnancy, I mean, you're probably going to lactation classes and birthing classes.
Depending on the resources in your area.
Yes. And everyone focuses for 9 months on the day of birth.
Yep.
So they make a checklist. What's it called?
Birthing plan.
Birthing plan. And, they've got it all set up and they talk to their partner about their needs and they talk to their doctor about their needs. But no one thinks about when you give birth to this baby and go home, what do I need for my body? Even if you have a belly birth, remember, you're still going to bleed vaginally because your placenta...
When she says belly birth, she means C-section in case you're not aware of a more gentle term.
Your placenta is like... We should have brought a plate, let's say the size of this paper.
But, like, round.
But round.
Right?
Okay. Also, if you're not on YouTube, you're not watching.
So, like, picture a dinner plate, okay?
Or a paper plate. That works.
Whatever.
Okay. So, when your placenta detaches, you have a wound in your stomach, guys.
I only giggle because I remember I was like, Nicole, I need to go work out. I've got so much stress. This is when I had a NICU baby. We're like day 5. She was like, girl, stop. You have a dinner plate sized wound in your uterus. That, like, don't do that. And I was like,
I think I sent you the visual
you did.
Too. And I was like, look at how big this is now.
It's huge.
Your placenta just detached and it needs to, like...
And you're over here trying to go work out and stuff.
Oh my gosh.
And I wasn't like trying to go for a walk. Like, I was trying to go to a HIIT workout.
She just like wanted to get back. Basically, you wanted to get back in a routine.
Yeah, I needed some sort of stability.
Some kind of stability and something you could control because you just had a baby at 34 weeks.
In the NICU.
And you wanted control. I told you that. I hear you.
But this is not the way.
That you can control something else, not working out. Because literally your placenta, like your wound, needs to heal. You need to give your body time to, replace all that flesh.
Like, I probably would have passed out.
Oh, for sure.
From just like... Seriously. From like being just exhausted and then like my body just not being there and like entirely.
Like, nope.
We ain't doing this. Go to sleep.
But if you have a C-section and you're like, why am I bleeding vaginally? I didn't give birth vaginally. It's because of that wound.
It's still there, right? Like your placenta still detaches. Like it's still there.
So crazy. And I feel like not enough people that maybe go into a planned C-section know that.
Yeah.
And so they're like, oh, I don't need to buy pads or Depends because I'll be fine. No, you still need those things.
Girl. Yes.
Depends are like wonderful. I did not know about this.
It's like a secret. Like nobody talks about it.
Why don't people talk about this?
But girl, no. Like Depends are life. With my second, oh my gosh.
Seriously.
Like I bought like a big old value pack, and I thought they were like the greatest thing. I was like, why didn't a nurse say, hey girl, when you get home, like use some Depends because the pads we send you home with are great.
The whole thing goes up. You're good.
The whole thing, right? And so like
it's like a built-in pad and underwear.
We're totally gonna go to a TMI moment here, but like just work with me.
We're in postpartum,
right?
So
it's fine. But like you'll be laying in bed and it'll just like run down your back crack and like do you know what I mean? And so like the pad in the front ain't doing nothing. Like you need a little back coverage too. So which is why the Depends are clutch.
Well, and also it depends on the person because some people only bleed like a tiny bit after birth and some people bleed a lot. And it
depends birth to birth.
Yeah.
My first
totally
I barely bled at all. And probably
well that's
I hemorrhaged. So like I didn't really have anything left.
Right.
But my second, I bled like a lot. That's where the Depends came in.
Yes.
And then my third, I bled like what I would consider like a heavyish period, right? Mm-hmm. Like not outrageous, but like it was decent for probably 2 weeks.
Yeah.
But I know there are people who bleed for like 6 weeks.
Yeah. Yeah, and I feel like that's normal. So first, I mean, obviously, if you're bleeding too much,
quarter-size clots, like those things, anything concerning, call your doctor. We're not medical professionals.
Yes, for sure. Thanks for that.
No problem.
The little insight or like the words at the bottom of the screen.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think it is, important to have pads, lots of pads.
And different sizes.
One thing I've learned, I mean, my husband, when guys go to buy pads,
bless their souls,
it's like going into this wilderness of a store with so many different options, and there's like some with wings and some without, and some are heavy and some are light and some are long and some are regular.
Some are for thongs and some are for this and for, don't buy me thong
I mean,
ones.
even me, if I like didn't know what I was wanting to buy and going to look
sometimes
at that
I
shelf,
stand in
like,
that aisle for like a hot minute and I'm like, do I need something different? Like, look, there's a new box, what's that? Like,
seriously. So if you can buy them ahead of time, do it, because you know exactly what you want.
And nobody wants to take a 5-year-old baby to the store. Like, that's, you don't need to do that.
I did that and I almost passed out with my first.
Good.
Don't do that. So pads, depends.
Yes.
Super great. And you know what? Put them right by your toilet.
Yeah. So I got a little basket and like I just like set it there. I had all my pads, my little peri bottle, which is like the thing you use to rinse. And if your doctor doesn't give you one, I highly recommend buying some sort of version, whatever that looks like.
I feel like every hospital gives you one.
Yeah, I don't know anybody
who
who
have
has
a home birth. I think I even got one in my home birth kit, honestly.
Yeah.
So they're pretty common.
Yeah, but they're super important. So when they tell you to take that home, take that home.
Yeah.
It's like a bidet in a bottle.
Yeah, because you don't want to be wiping if you got stitches.
Right,
and stuff. Even if a baby just like tore through your vagina. Like... Like, you just birthed a human.
A watermelon.
Okay, so use that. Watermelon sugar.
Sorry.
Seriously, fill it up with warm water.
And you can just leave
use
it.
that. And just leave it in the
Right next to your
bathroom.
basket.
Because, I mean, a kid
right
may play with it. It's fine.
But your mesh undies can go in there.
Yes.
And I know some people don't like to use mesh undies for like that long, but
I love mesh undies because if they got blood on it, I throw them right away. I don't want to. I'm not going to be scrubbing underwear when I'm like.
Just throw those away, though.
No, just throw the underwear, everything away. Like, it's fine. You can get new underwear.
It's fine.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
So the mesh underwear are great. I think sometimes it's really nice to have like. I know some hospitals give out like preparation H type deal.
Well, the Tux pads or the Dermablast, the spray.
Yeah. That's what it is.
Yep.
So they give out the spray and stuff. So you can like, we had perineum balm in our kits. And so that's, stuff you can also leave there. So like when you're there, you have all your stuff to handle your business, your bottom business.
It was so cute after I had my first. Sean was so cute. I would like go to the bathroom in the hospital and he would put the mesh underwear on my legs. I'd be like sitting there trying to pee because it's like terrifying, right? And then he'd put like the pad down and then he'd put the Tux pads and the spray. And he would like get me all ready and all I'd have to do is stand up and pull it up. It was perfect.
Right. See, but when you get home, if you don't have all that in the bathroom, then you're like, is it in the medicine closet?
Yeah. No, just have a kit right by your bathroom. If you're worried about visitors going in and seeing, who cares? They just visited you like one day after having a baby. Nope. They can deal with it.
They can look at your Tux pads.
It's fine. It is totally fine. And have like a garbage bin right there because the pads are huge and you're just gonna throw them in there. Like when I went and visited my sister after she had her second, I like made sure that there was that box of all the goodies. I kept replacing the Depends every day. Like if you're a person that is listening to this that's like gonna go support a sister or a friend
or whatever,
that is something you can do. Replace the
I know it seems so silly, but like, man,
so
there's
important.
nothing worse, even if you're just on your period, than going into the bathroom and being like, shoot, I'm out of
and then you have to waddle around and try not to spill anything. No. So, and then I would like take out her garbage like every few hours because that fills up really fast, But it's something little that she might not have even noticed, but she would have noticed if I didn't do it,
right.
So it's just something nice to do. But yes, keep all those things by your bathroom, for sure.
Other postpartum things, like if you decide to breastfeed, like nipple balm is super important. Or even if you're pumping.
Is so important. And I want to talk about that quick. Everyone uses lanolin, and lanolin is like a no-no. I don't really know why. Yes. I can't remember the exact reason
I wish y'all
why.
could see my face right now if you're not. Because like, I'm shook.
I know, because that's what they give you in the hospital and stuff. But I'm...
And this stuff's expensive. It's like $20 a tube.
Okay, don't quote me because I'm not a lactation consultant, but I'm pretty sure that you're not supposed to use lanolin because it can just like make more cracking or something.
Huh.
Yeah. So nipple balms like Earth Mama, we have one in our kits that we love. A local doula makes them. They're all organic. There's some other kinds that are really, really good out there. But yeah, having
doesn't the Bamboobies company make one too? I think
I'm sure they do.
I think there's another one I have at home. It's like
Lancelo or whatever.
A little jar
make some too. Yeah,
pink hearts on it.
Yes. I feel like new moms are really good actually about nipple balm though, or like nipple or some kind of.
I think it depends on how much exposure they've had or how many people they have talking to.
I feel like that's the one thing that y'all get.
Know.
You didn't have that? Mm-mm. Well, it comes in your like hospital bag, I'm pretty sure.
Nah, girl.
Lather it on. And I'm not kidding. If you get a cracked nipple, you're done. You're done. Because that stuff takes so hard to heal.
It hurts, and you got to work through it, but you're not done. You can get over it.
Okay.
You're not over it, but you can move past it. I believe in you.
Okay, yes, you're totally right.
Don't discourage. Because breastfeeding is hard.
It's
painful.
Would put it on so much because I didn't want to get a cracked nipple, because the second you get one, then it's bleeding, and then you're like
painful, and every time the baby tries to latch, like
you gotta reopen it. Yeah. So then you got to pump on that side, or like put a haka so that you're like letting it heal, and it takes forever to heal. So it's just just lather it on.
Yeah, and I would also think I also want to say like disposable nursing pads are great if you use them. Mm-hmm. I was not a big fan of them because if I had like a lot of like balm or lanolin or whatever it was at the time, if I had a lot of that on, or if I didn't put enough and like my milk dried to it, like it would like peel off like a Band-Aid almost. Whereas they have like reusable ones that are like cotton or bamboo or whatever.
And you can just throw them in the wash.
Yes. So nice. When you take off like your whole nursing bra thing, just throw the whole thing in there. Yes. You don't have to worry about accidentally washing a nursing pad.
Is that like a diaper when you wash that?
Yeah, not quite as bad. Not quite as bad.
Doesn't have the jellies.
Yeah. But they don't like peel off your skin. Like they don't like pull, right? Yeah. So like they're able to absorb without being uncomfortable, and I also think that they lay a little bit flatter, and so you don't have like
the
lumpy
boobs,
lumpy tits.
I also want to say when you're breastfeeding and have a lot of those creams on, most of them are okay for your baby to latch onto while having it, so you don't have to worry about like getting in the shower every time you need to breastfeed. No, like you're doing
I would double check that you're not like throwing Aquaphor or something on there that might not be.
What I would usually do is just grab, I had like a washcloth and I would just like wipe it briefly and then latch on. I wasn't like fully washing every time because that's too much.
But like other things I think like are helpful for breastfeeding is like setting yourself up with like a little I'm big on like the boxes, like right, like a little crate, a little basket, like that has some snacks in it, that has like, so I had to use a nipple shield for the first couple weeks of breastfeeding with my son, and so I had like always had my nipple shield in there, and like I would keep my nipple butter and my pads in there, and like there was a point with my middle where we were doing syringe feeding, so I kept extra syringes in there, and like you know,
keep them right on your bedstand or a chair that you like to breastfeed in.
And sometimes it's more than one box, and like that can be helpful.
In multiple places.
So like we had like a diaper box, right? Like in multiple rooms, so that we didn't have to like go searching for everything all the time. But in there, like you could also do like spare pump parts, or if you have a haka, like those are really great for you. For those of you who don't know what a haka is, it's like silicone. It's a breast pump, but it's
I wouldn't even. It's not called a breast pump, but it's literally just like a thing that you attach to your boob.
And it suctions on. So imagine like a suction cup with like a bottle attached to the bottom of it. The bottle doesn't come off. It's all one piece. And it just suction cups on. And it uses that suction to draw milk out. Yep. It can be especially effective if you are nursing on the other side.
Or just leaking. Like, say you're just always leaking on the other side while you're feeding a newborn, which is very normal. Yep. Just put that on there, and then you're just
and at least you can catch it. Right, it's there.
And then just throw it in
rather
the freezer.
than it just going into a nursing pad or down your shirt. I mean, whatever.
Right.
But like for me, I found it really helpful when I was in the NICU, because I could like still collect some on one side while still cuddling him, because he already had a lot of wires. The last thing I needed was more wires.
Right. And
so like being able to
actually like sucking it out of you.
Doing the whole thing. So like those are really great. They're like
water,
or those things.
Water is really important while breastfeeding, bottles. So always have someone bringing you water.
And if you don't love water, like get yourself some Mio or those little Crystal Light things or those little flavorings. Like
I'm not a good water drinker. I'm really terrible at it. Really.
When I had Lucas, my youngest in the NICU, I had a Mio with me because I knew that like I would drink probably like 2 big cups of water, but then after that I was like, okay, give me something else. And so if I had that, I was like much more likely to drink it.
Yeah.
Or if you have those things, so I also have flat nipples, like hello. hello.
Flat nipple people.
All the TMI for you all today. But I had to use, for my very, very first time breastfeeding, I had to use one of those things that like would pull it out a little bit. Like keep that stuff next to you so you're not having to search for it all the time. It's exhausting. You got enough things to worry about. Like, and set yourself up for success.
Set this stuff up before you give birth.
Yes.
Which is very important.
That's like, and that's what we're saying. Like planning for it ahead of time.
Planning for it. So start buying all the stuff, start collecting it and putting it out where you need to have it before you give birth, because when you come home from the hospital, you are exhausted.
Yeah, and the last thing you're doing is putting together that stuff.
Like you're like, I don't know what's happening with my body. I just want to sleep. Good. You should sleep. That is your thing. Your main thing when you come home with the baby is sleeping and feeding that baby.
Yep.
That's it.
I know a lot of people, I think maybe not enough people have heard it, like the 2 weeks in bed, 2 weeks around bed, and 2 weeks around the house.
Or isn't it 5 days?
I don't remember.
5 days in bed, 5 days on the bed, 5 days around the bed, or something like that.
Something like that. Yeah, but like, it's a good reminder to just be like, hey, like, it's day 5. I don't need to be back into normal life. Nope, it's okay. Like, just take some time and let your body heal. Like we talked about that big wound in your uterus, and like trying to figure out breastfeeding if you're doing that, or just trying to figure out your baby. Like you're just trying to get to know each other.
You've got engorgement going on. Oh, girl. That's enough to deal with. Seriously, it's a lot. And something about engorgement that's really good is a lot of people like to use heat for that, but be careful if you use heat too much in the beginning, because then you're drawing milk out, which yes, feels great. You're trying to get relief, but if you draw too much milk out, then your body's going to start thinking, I need to produce more milk. Oh, let's start. And it can take an entire week for your body to realize how much milk your baby needs. So if you're just putting heat on and you're just leaking milk like crazy, your body's going to be like, shit, I need to make more milk. And so be careful with that, because then you can end up with an oversupply, which, if you're not careful enough with it, you can
mastitis
and clogged ducts, and that's a whole thing.
It's a whole thing.
So ice is actually really great for engorgement. You're just going to lay it on there and just like keep putting ice on.
So
constantly.
I'm a big fan of using diapers. So like take your baby's newborn diaper or one or whatever, put water in it, put it in your fridge or even your freezer, depending on how cold you want to get in. But like, because it's got that gel in it, it forms really nicely.
Seriously. No,
and then you can literally just throw it away and you just be done with it. Or because it's just water, like you could reuse it for a minute or two. So life hack, you can double duty.
So if you don't have any ice packs, there you go. Diaper. You got diapers. We know that because you got a million.
But you can also use them for heat. So if you do end up with a clogged duct, you could put warm water. Be careful because like they can get really hot. Yeah. And you can also use that for heat because it like molds really well. So like in a pinch, especially if you're like at a friend's house or like out in the world, like you always have diapers with you.
Yeah. My midwife and my sister made these, and then my midwife made these. The Padsicles they're like a Pinterest thing, and some people like them. They were way too cold for me to put on my pants. I was like, I would sit down and I'd be like, I cannot do this. I can't. It was way too cold. And so I actually used them for my engorgement because they molded. They were frozen pads, so they would mold around my boob, and it was perfect.
See,
it was wonderful. So there you go. If you don't have ice packs, that's what you want to use. But the ice is really good for engorgement. Some people use cabbage leaves.
Oh, yeah. But that can dry you out kind of a lot, can't it?
It can dry it out, but like I get really bad engorgement, so I need
I never get engorged, so it's not...
So it really just depends on your engorgement levels. You can definitely Google that and look that stuff up, because that's really, really great. But having ice packs on hand, good thing.
Yeah, for tops, bottoms, in betweens, all the things.
All the things.
We've talked a lot about like stuff to have on hand, but I want to touch on like resources.
Yes.
So like
we're actually going to have a checklist that will be available for downloading. By the time you are listening to this podcast, it will be in our bio on our Instagram and on our website.
Yep. And it'll be a free download because listen, I just want you to prepare for postpartum.
I just want everyone to have this.
I do. Okay. Like, I don't need to make no money off of it. I don't want you to even sign up for a list if you don't have to. Like, just download it.
It's going to be a very generic too, where it just has a line to fill in, and it's like a therapist that is covered with your insurance.
In network, yep.
Do this before you have a baby again, absolutely. Remember? And that's really important. One, I got postpartum anxiety super bad after I had my child, and the last thing I wanted to do was look up who was in my insurance. It took me months.
Well, and sometimes you have to like kind of fight with your insurance. So I went through it with Lucas, where afterwards I was pretty sure I was having some PPD. Things were really stressful. Like I was having passive suicidal thoughts. Like it was a bad time.
Yeah.
And it was so hard to find somebody and to get help.
Right.
And I was so, it like main things
it
were.
makes me so mad that it's
I was so
hard,
frustrated.
honestly.
I like just cried because I was like, I know I need help. And I'm asking for people for help, and I'm not getting any help.
Right.
And so,
what the
like,
heck is up with that?
like, makes my little heart sad.
Yeah.
But if you can get that information ahead of time, and even like, you could even send an email and be like, hey, like, just wondering, like, are you in network, or like, are you familiar with postpartum stuff? You know, I just want to make sure I have somebody on call, sort of a thing. Like, if we get there, and
just
at least
to have it written down on a list with a number.
Yeah. Don't
be
forget
like,
the phone number.
You know, because maybe you don't need it. Maybe you never need it, which great. I would love for you not to need it, but I also want you to have it written down before you give birth, before you're super tired at the end of pregnancy.
Right. I had to call like 6 people, and it was so stressful.
It is so stressful.
And so I can't imagine trying to do that with a brand new baby in my house. Like, we were 6 months out at this point, so like I at least felt like we had like a handle on that.
And
but
this
like,
was your third kid.
And this is my third kid, y'all.
Imagine if it was your first, and you're like, I'm learning breastfeeding, I'm learning how to be a mom, and now I got to figure out how to find this phone number. No, like,
and figure out if they take my insurance or not, and like,
So on this list, we're gonna have things like therapists, baby wearing groups, breastfeeding groups, La Leche leagues.
Like, get to know who your leaders are, and like when your meetings are. You can even attend them ahead of time.
Do you want to explain what a La Leche league is?
So La Leche League is like breastfeeding support. So ours was held like at our local library once a month.
And right now, I don't know what they're doing because of COVID, but just,
they have really great leaders out there who are very knowledgeable people who you can reach out to, have a conversation with. You could probably even Zoom or video chat with them, and they could help you with these things. But like for me, it was just nice to get around other moms who were breastfeeding, because my first child, we breastfed for 2 weeks. No, we probably breastfed for a week. And so I don't want to say we failed, because we did try really hard. But I had hemorrhaged, and like there was a lot of other things going. So like she got colostrum, and that's great. It was amazing, right?
That is great.
So I really am trying to reframe the way I feel about it.
You killed that. Good job.
And so my second time around, I was a lot more like knowledgeable, because I had more mom friends. I knew more things. But I was very determined. I really wanted to breastfeed. It was something that was like important to me. And I'm sure part of that was like trying to heal from like not breastfeeding my daughter the first time. But so I went to a meeting ahead of time, and like they were like just getting to know people's faces. And then when we went another time, after he was born, like I was able to have conversations about like, hey, I noticed this is happening, or like, hey, is it normal for this to be happening? And so yes, I could have called like my pediatrician. I could have gone into an appointment, but it was nice to just be like in a community of like other moms,
which is super important,
right? So, just to know other moms.
Yes, and like I said, I don't know with COVID if they're meeting in person, but I'm sure they're doing virtual. Same thing with baby wearing groups. Obviously, they're not meeting in person right now, but like I loved going to baby wearing groups. They were only once a month, and I would just go and be around other moms, and I was like, hi, you exist. Oh, wonderful. And the nice thing about baby wearing groups is you can go and at not COVID times,
pre-COVID,
you can go and try on different carriers for free, and volunteers will show you how to wear them, how to put your baby in securely, and it's just really nice. But on this site, or on the sheet, I'm also going to link the Baby Wearing International website.
Yep, Little H League has a big one too. They have like a main site,
those.
And you can find like the groups in your area and the times and all those things. And branching off of La Leche League, like a lactation consultant. So not all clinics have one.
Right.
I am very lucky that my clinic had one, who was literally just upstairs. So like I was all in the same place. But had I not known, had my pediatrician not said, hey girl, I think you really need to see a lactation consultant, just to like make sure you're all set up for success.
Just to watch
like not because anything was
sure
wrong.
Everything is right.
Yeah, nothing was wrong at the time. Like we were making it through. We were doing okay, but like my pediatrician at the time was just like, hey, I really think you should see one, just because like I know breastfeeding is important to you, and I want you to have all that support. But if she hadn't done that, I probably never would have met her. I wouldn't have reached out on my own.
Super important to note really quick is that it's okay to utilize sources all the time.
Yeah, if something's not wrong, quote unquote.
Yeah, it doesn't make you a bad mom because you can't figure it out on your own. It's okay. Those things are there for you to utilize. Use it. Use that village of knowledge and support, and just don't feel guilty about it. If you want to go and learn something new, go do it.
Yeah. Like I didn't know that I needed a nipple shield. She was like, it's going to make things so much easier for you.
Like, what?
Here, let me show you how to do this. And so like we had a tough couple weeks, but because I had her in my corner, I was like, we got this. Like we can do this. And then we went on to breastfeed for like 15 months.
Yeah.
Like crushed it.
Yeah.
And so like just my pediatrician like speaking that into me and like giving that life, like, hey, you need to talk to this person, even though nothing's wrong, but just to have her, to know her so she knows you, like that's really important. And I didn't have to go find it. And if I had to go find it, I probably wouldn't have done it. So if you can find it,
probably wouldn't have found it as easily. It's
and if you can find it ahead of time,
yeah,
like, and put it on this list so that you can reach out to these people, like, please do that.
Yes. So other things on the list, let's see.
Oh, we talked about, like, if you have food allergies or things that you like or you don't like. So if people ask, hey, Nicole, I'd really love to bring you a meal, but you legit could just copy and paste this and send it to
and be like, yes, we like these things. We don't like these things. I'm allergic to
this, that, and the next thing.
Perfect.
Done.
Like, have it already in your phone and put it in notes or something so that you can just, like, send it off to people. I know meal trains are an amazing thing with COVID. You
could even talk to a friend ahead of time, though, and be like, hey, Nicole, could you set up a meal train for me after baby comes? Because I know we won't think about it, and that would be really helpful. Like, I want to empower you to ask your friends in your support groups and, like, your village for help. And if you don't have a village, like, try to start building one before baby comes, because once baby comes, it's so overwhelming.
It is so overwhelming.
And especially in a
COVID
COVID world.
Lonely. Yes.
Like,
because you can't go out. You can't go to baby groups. It's hard right now, and I feel so much for these moms.
I would love to talk about postpartum in a pandemic, like coming up, not today, because like I feel like that's a whole thing.
I feel like we should bring on a mom that
who
is
had
now.
Yes.
Yeah, that's a good goal for another
podcast. But like I recognize that this is a different time for a lot of people. So if you can at least get a village or some people in place beforehand, I think that's really, really important.
Yeah, and just having other moms that like have been through it come over. And just be like, girl, I get it. Like, there's no pressure. I don't have to hold your baby. Like, you can hold your baby, and I will just sit here and listen to you and validate you. And
but if you want to go take a shower, I'll hold your baby.
I will hold your baby.
That's fine too. But like, if you want me to bring you some lunch, okay? Like, I don't really like to cook that much. So if you want me to bring you some lunch,
rotisserie chicken.
I will. That is my go-to.
That is your thing.
That's my go-to. I will bring you a rotisserie chicken, some sides, and like a salad.
Done. Pizza, done.
Yeah.
Cookie dough, done.
Oh, that's another one to put on your list, is if like you have takeout places that are nearby.
There you go.
So you can be like, hey honey, the Chinese food list the Chinese food number is right there. Just go ahead and call it. I like a number 10, right? Like, so it's there. Yeah. And your husband doesn't even have to question, like, hey, what did you want? What do you like?
Sometimes that is really hard after you just have a baby.
Thinking is hard.
And so you're like, I don't know.
I don't know. It's like a chicken thing.
Yeah. So just write down what you like.
Yeah.
Done.
Like, yep. At Panera, I want this, that, and the next thing. Okay, done.
Yep. And it's just important to have all these things ready to go.
And it seems silly to write them down, but like, man, if it's one less thing you have to think about, one less thing you have to give to somebody else, like, it's there. Your husband can go help himself. Your partner can go help themselves and look at it and be like, you can have a girlfriend.
Just like, okay, think of it this way. When you make your birth plans, you make it because you're like, I'm going to be in labor land. I'm not going to know what's going on. I'm going to be having this baby. Y'all can look at my list and see what I want. Same thing with postpartum, guys.
Yep. I had a girl.
We are literally out of it when you just have a baby.
We have a friend who like writes a list, like when she's in postpartum, she keeps a list of things that she would be helpful. So like she writes it on her fridge, like, hey, I could really use a grocery pickup. So when somebody says, hey, what can I do for you? She can literally go to her list. She doesn't have to think about it. She can walk over to her list and be like, I need some groceries. I need this. I need that. Yep. And that way she doesn't have to think it through.
Ooh, another thing, if you're a friend wanting to support someone that just had a baby, don't be like, hey, do you need something? Because I can bring something over. Be like, I'm going grocery shopping right now.
What can I bring you?
Do you need milk and eggs and water? Or, probably don't need water.
Can I bring you a rotisserie chicken?
Do you need a rotisserie chicken? Perfect. I'm going to bring it to you. But I've started texting. I have one friend that I'm always trying to help because I know she has 2 kids and she's by herself right now. And so I'm like, do you need milk? I'm going to the store right now. I'm not asking, what do you need? Because they'll say no, nothing. Right. I need nothing. It's fine. Everything's great.
I know you've done that to me. You've been like, what do you want to eat from this place? I'm already here. And I'm like, oh, okay. I guess I'll eat some food.
Yeah, because you need to eat some food. So it's like, it's just don't ask those questions that they could say, nothing's great, because it's not great.
It's not fine.
Postpartum is insane.
Hard.
It's like an insane jungle that you're like trying to get through with a machete.
Right, and especially if you've never been to the jungle.
Welcome to the jungle. We're a singing show apparently now.
Apparently today.
Yeah, I think it's really important to just validate people, talk about it. Understand that postpartum is going to be hard. You're super tired. You just, most like first time moms are in labor for a really long time. We don't sleep. And then you just have this baby and you're just constantly sleep deprived like for the rest of your life.
For the next 18 months.
Yes. And
just kidding. Some people's babies sleep great.
Yeah. So you're going to be tired. That's okay. You're going to be
mom brain.
That's okay. Your brain is going to be mush. That's okay.
It's normal. like you're not you're not incompetent because you can't remember like the things you're supposed to be doing.
Right.
Like your brain can only contain so much information.
You have to remember too that your hormones in your body, like you've been growing this being in your body.
You grew a whole extra human or two,
human,
depending on if you have multiples.
For 10 months in your body. Woo. So like slowly, all these hormones have been like going through your body like crazy. And now all of a sudden this baby like shoots out and your body's like, panic and run, panic and run, panic and run. I don't know what's happening.
Your fight, freeze
going?
Is like a mess.
It's literally like you have to remember that that's normal for your body to panic because it's like, what's happening now? It's gone. We have to flush these extra hormones out. We have to flush this extra blood out.
Well, I also think there's like this shift, right? Like there's no longer self-preservation, so you're no longer like you're not even on the burner, right? Right. You got all this other stuff.
I just have to worry about this baby. Is the baby breathing? Is it sleeping?
Yep. Is it fed? Is it changed?
Oh gosh, there's something happening. I need to feed it again. It's not feeding right. I don't know what's happening. And meanwhile, your body is panicking.
Right.
You're panicking.
You haven't eaten in a day.
Yeah.
So I think like those are all normal things.
And when you sweat like crazy at night, that's the hormones. Remember, they're flushing themselves out. You literally wake up drenched and you're like, what is happening? Like for me, I've always been very cold.
Right.
And so I'm like, oh my God, I'm like sweating. This is weird.
Your sheets are like wet and stuff. And you're like, what the heck?
And it's literally just those hormones flushing themselves out.
It's a lot of changes.
The blood, flushing the blood out. It's your body is doing so much. Just like when you were pregnant, you are multitasking still. So when you're in postpartum, you're still multitasking. Your body's still doing a lot of hard work. It's replenishing. It's healing.
It's doing all the things.
It's doing all this thing, and it's making milk for your baby.
But you're still like helping grow. Like the milk.
Dang, your body's pretty incredible.
It is. And one more thing about your body is like some people think like after you birth your baby, your body is just like back to not being pregnant.
You're gonna lose like
you're
20
just flat,
pounds,
right?
No,
like you're gonna go back to flat. Like no, there are some people who legit like still look pregnant for like the next 3 months. Like not a big bump, but like definitely still a bump. But like again, that's normal.
So normal. It took you 10 months to grow that bump. Okay, it's not gonna just disappear.
Nope.
It's gonna take some time, and that's okay. And also, I never lost weight when I was breastfeeding.
Me neither.
It just didn't.
But I know people who do. I know
some
people like burn crazy.
Yeah, some people burn calories. I don't.
And I was ravenous. Okay. I ate like a teenage boy.
So much.
I had somebody recently comment that was like, "Why am I eating everything?" And I was like, "Dude, that's normal."
Yeah, like you have to make extra calories for this baby, so you gotta eat.
It was ridiculous. I would eat so much.
Yes,
I'd have
make
like
sure you're eating
4 eggs and like it was insane.
Yep.
I told my husband that. I was like, I feel like we not only added a baby, but we also added a teenage boy to our house. Like, I just need to eat all the things.
And that's normal.
Yeah.
And super healthy because then you're getting
you gotta eat
calories for yourself
to
and
sustain yourself and your baby.
Like, dang, that's a lot.
You're doing a lot of things.
We got a lot of stuff going on in your body. Seriously. And our bodies are incredible. The stuff that we do and go through, and then we just like go back into normal life after we just gave life. How incredible.
Do you remember 6 days postpartum? I was out voting. Speaking of which, it's an election year vote.
Vote.
But like, and so like, but that was
not sponsored.
Not sponsored. But like, that was something that was important to me. But like, was getting out and doing that. But like 6 days postpartum, like I should have been in bed. Like,
girl, you've always been that like wrap my baby to me and I'm gonna do stuff.
I just fake it.
And I was probably still in bed naked at 6 weeks or 6 days. So my boobs get so big when I get engorged.
See, and I don't have engorgement, right? So it's like one less issue.
I can't put my arms down. I literally have to sit. I have to walk and sit like this.
Like Violet from Willy Wonka. She has
seriously.
the big
and
wall.
I also had a small tear that my midwife's like, if you just sit with your legs closed for 2 weeks, I won't have to stitch it. And I was like, yep. Deal.
What did you call it? Like ladies?
Pussy galore from James Bond.
No, she said you had to
sit like a Bond lady.
Oh, sit like a Bond lady.
The lady's name is literally Pussy galore. Why?
It's questionable choices were made.
James Bond. So I literally, not only could I not put my arms down, but I couldn't move my legs. But I literally just wore a sheet because no shirts fit me. My boobs were so big and so uncomfortable. So yeah, my dad always has to come over like immediately after the baby's born. And I set a boundary right away with him. I was like, look, I am not wearing clothes. I just gave birth at home like a badass. And I'm just going to lay in my bed with a sheet and you can come see baby. And if you're comfortable with that, great. And he was like, yep, I'm fine. You know, and I just made sure my sheet was up and he would hold baby and he would sit on the bed and stuff. This is pre-COVID. And so I know it's sad that we would have to say that, but I set boundaries with my family. If you're going to come over, I'm going to be in a sheet. Right. Like, and that's okay. It's fine. Because this is where we're at. Yep. Right here. Yep. And if you want to bring me food, great. I'm going to be in a sheet in my bed. You can leave it at the door. My husband will serve me things. I'm a queen. I just gave birth.
I'm a bad bitch. Just get it in my house. What up?
Okay. I think we covered a lot. Postpartum.
Yeah, I'm sure there's more that you could do to prepare for postpartum. But honestly, if you listen to this and take one of these suggestions, I will count this as a win.
Yes.
I just want you to think about, like, hey, what does postpartum look at for me?
Think about it and be like, what do I need after? Because I'm not going to go to a store. I'm going to be resting.
Yeah, maybe you don't need takeout menus because you're like, I'm going to prep 6 weeks of freezer meals. Girl, go ahead with your bad self. Yeah. But, like, that's not me. Like, I want to know what time is pizza delivered till.
Yeah. Like, I got stuff to know. We have some exciting news to talk about. Woo! So when we started Laurel and Fig, we had a postpartum box, and it wasn't really selling well. I think the world just wasn't ready for it yet. But we want to bring it back.
I mean, they still may not be ready for it, but we here.
But we are ready, and this box is so important. And I really realized it when I went and supported a recent birth client, and she had no idea about breast pads, nipple butter, Hawka, like nothing. She knew nothing. And I sat there for like an hour and a half and just talked to her. I didn't hold her baby. She held her baby. And I just validated her and talked to her, and I brought her a bunch of stuff from this box. And I was like, we need to bring these back.
Yeah, it's important. And I don't think that the people who need them know it's there. So,
ooh, yeah, tell them about our good idea.
We're going to pivot a little bit. Yes. And so, like, we want to, like I said, we're here. We're bringing the box back.
We're bringing it back.
But what we would like to be able to do is, like, the buy a box, give a box. So we can then support mothers who maybe are in a situation where they don't know this is a thing. So that we can still get them the stuff they need, still help them prepare for postpartum.
And educate them on postpartum and their body.
With y'all's support, because we know the people who do follow us and do love us, like, you guys know that, like, we're passionate about this. You know that it's important, but these other folks don't. And so we want to be able to, like, spread it to all the people, because the more people who know about it, the more normalized postpartum is going to be, and that's important. And not only are we doing buy a box, give a box, but we also want to do a, like, sponsor a box. Yeah. So if you're not buying one because you're like, girl, I ain't pregnant, I ain't having no more kids, you can still support another mom who's going through this.
Yes.
And again, that just allows us to give back to more people in the community. Because I think Nicole and I, we want to support all of you, right? We want to support you and you and you and you and you. But there's so many women who we don't reach for whatever reason. They're not in our circles. They're not in our communities. They're not, people we interact with regularly. But they need that support too. And they probably need it more than some of you guys do, because you have the resources, you have
the knowledge, you're here,
you're listening, like, whereas these women don't know that's there.
Yes.
And so if we can reach some of some women, I think, like, and I've got goosebumps.
I know.
If we can reach those women, like,
to be a 501,
a nonprofit, that's going to allow us. Okay, because we're not trying to get rich off postpartum. We're not. Like, I just want people to think about postpartum and be empowered as mothers and know what their options are and all of those good things. And so if we can convert to a nonprofit, we are, again, able to help so many more people. And, like,
that is the goal, is to bring this to
giddy about it.
I know. To bring this communities that don't have this education in birth and postpartum, and educate them and bring these boxes
and
to these
share
young
the resources
moms or moms that, are single and doing this all on their own. Like, man, that is some stuff right there.
Girl.
Like, so if you are someone that wants to buy a box for a friend, you can give a box to a woman in need. Mm-hmm. How incredible is that? Like, I am all about that.
Yes.
We're also going to be doing things a little bit different with the box. Most of the things are going to be more homemade.
Yes. Because we are then able to support another mom who's going to help us create these awesome things. She's already creating our balms, and then we are switching to a perineum spray because I totally hear that you may not want to rub your bottom. You may not want to rub the balm on your bottom when things are sensitive.
One wants to touch
and
that.
I totally hear that.
No.
So we're transitioning to a spray rather than a balm, which is very exciting.
Yes.
And then she's also going to be helping us make our breast pads and the heating / ice flax pad.
Yes.
Things. Sorry, as I
rub in the boots.
So that we can then, we're then allowed to be able to support another mom who is in our area, and we can pay her rather than paying like Amazon, and not that Jeff Bezos. I mean, he's doing fine. He doesn't need our money. Yeah. Where she's like actually going to be able to benefit from it.
Yes.
So that's exciting too, to be able to transition some of our stuff around and
to local doula that is making our stuff. I know. I'm so excited, and we are going to be doing a GoFundMe soon. To buying the inventory for the boxes was probably the hardest thing. And just keeping it up. So if we can run a GoFundMe and get that support for buying all the inventory,
501 files,
get the 501, because that's not cheap. Just being able to do all those things and have the community help us so we can help the community. I'm so excited.
I think it's a win-win. Yes. I do.
So we have exciting things.
We have some exciting things going on. I mean, 501s don't come overnight. So, I mean, this is something we'll be working on for a while. But we're really excited to.
Yeah, as soon as we can get the boxes rolling, we're going to. Because they're just so important and so needed. So keep an eye out for our GoFundMe and for
the upcoming Laurel and Fig Foundation.
Yes. Woo!
It sounds so cool.
It does sound so fancy. The Laurel and Fig Foundation. Coming
Sponsored by viewers like you.
All right. Goodness. Well, thank you for all hanging out with us today. Talking about
the table, doing all the things.
Yes.
Don't forget to go check us out on YouTube if you want to watch. Otherwise, we are on iTunes, and Spotify. Be sure to like, subscribe, hit your bell notification, leave a review, do all that good stuff. It just helps us reach more people.
And that's it. Bye, guys.